and Wright Rachel Corsie here. I mean, Rachel, you'd have to say for that second half performance, that's what Villa deserved, just much more energy.
Absolutely.
I don't know why when I left them. I apologise.
I mean, I felt there was a lot more competitiveness in that. I felt Kirsty Hansen came on at half-time, just gave them a little more option on the left-hand side with the pace to just travel with the ball and take the team a little higher up. I felt that helped them to then get into areas where they could then create opportunities. I think they've, on the stats there, 33% possession, but in return, 13 attempts on goal. That's something Arsenal need to look at from a Villa perspective. That's very efficient, and in the end, led to them having the momentum to finish the game on the front foot and get themselves a point.
We spoke about like the Maltby starting, and you did say about Kirsty Hansen should start there. You think from a Villa point of view, why wouldn't they start with a player that can come on and really go both ways really hard against an Arsenal side? And for me, they need too many touches on the ball, very negative backward passing. It's not enough energy in the Arsenal. She should have started with a team that would actually have a go at Arsenal, because I think that what I've seen, like I say, from West Ham and London City Lionesses, I think it's a full sense of security they're in, and I think that these games show them up for exactly where they are, because that's a poor performance in respect of a team that's going to try and win the league.
Right.
Such a poor performance.
Arsenal and Villa making those changes at key times, and Arsenal bring on Moy, take Caldente off. We wonder whether maybe she should have gone off a bit earlier. They seem to go really negative to hang on to that 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Yeah, yeah. At that stage, you'd have thought that, okay, that's a pretty sensible substitution to make in the circumstances, because it's nearly finished. But I thought that someone like Caldente has played a lot of football to this point, maybe 25 minutes earlier in the game, bring on a Karakuni cross onto the game, who wants to come on, and she needs games to get the ball forward with some energy, get some people running onto the ball, So in the end, again, you just look back at it and you think to yourself, yeah, it's just a poor result. It's a poor result, but a good result for Villa, because Arsenal didn't do nowhere near enough to finish them off in the first half when there were so many spaces and opportunities to do that. And that's what happens. You end up drawing a game that you should win.
Before you all shout at the telly, don't make those comparisons with Chelsea. Well, Chelsea dropped 6 points all last season. Arsenal have already dropped 4. So that is why it's damaging to their title hopes.
And the thing is, because of what Chelsea's done and the way Chelsea have dominated this WSL, it's because of those games that they're able to finish out. Chelsea don't lose that game for a start. Chelsea don't draw that game. Chelsea win that game. And listening to Renee speaking about, she's trusting his team, and she's got to trust in that squad. There's players in that team on that bench. Karakuni Cross, Palova coming on getting some minutes. They don't get enough minutes. She uses the same substitutes all the time. There's no difference in the game. There's no change in the way the game's going to, all of a sudden someone's going to come on and make it more quick and sharp for us, because she uses the same players. So you've got players who are probably upset there now, because they've drawn a game and they've got nowhere near the team. And, we're drawing games like that where we should be winning.
Particularly when you've got Manchester City next week as well. Like, that performance doesn't beat Manchester City either. And then if you're suddenly on the back foot, where do you go from there?
Yeah, the thing is with today, there was good things about the performance. Probably when you feel the energy at the end of the game, you're thinking, where was that Arsenal team? In the first half, there was lots of good moments. I felt their best moments come, though. Yes, there's times to have touched on the ball, but then there's those moments where you quickly, Mariona a few times, quickly punches one forward, combination in behind. That in the second half didn't happen, and we noticed it quite early, and we were saying, it's taking 4 or 5 touches. Then it would happen again, and then it would happen again. And those are the moments, I think, as a coaching staff and the management, if you're not going to make different changes, you have to get that information on, because the players will hear that. You can get that to the players. Say, less touches, move it quicker,
to make those
forward.
changes to win that game.
Yeah, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. Like I said, I mentioned Karakuni Cross, Palova, I'd like to see her play. Even Nizwanga from the left back. These players are not getting to come on and make a difference in the game. Of course, in the first half, Rach, we saw it where we thought, they played nice touches in that. But then once that's gone, and then you get to the second half and it's not happening, make some changes. What's going to change the fabric of the game? Because yes, we had 19 shots, or was it 19 shots in the end? But I can't remember too many real saves that the goalkeeper had to make, real proper chances. And that's what needs to happen. I think there's not enough competition in the squad. People know they're playing in that team, and they know they're going to play for the whole 90. And so, they can just play how they're playing, amble along.
It's not just one defeat in 8 in the league for Aston Villa. The consistency Arsenal wanted, Villa are starting to build.
Yeah, and I think the league position doesn't probably reflect the good work that's being done there to build that solid foundation. I think, like we're seeing, the Chelsea game, it's always tough against Chelsea. It's very difficult to get anything in those games. You've played Brighton away, it's a difficult early game. Then they didn't play last weekend, obviously, because of the circumstances against Liverpool. And today, Arsenal away. So it's actually, they've had quite a tough introduction to this season. They've shown that they are, one of the things about them is they have the character and the competitiveness to compete and make it difficult. And I think that goes a long way in the WSL. The one thing they'll want to get, though, is that first 3 points, because you don't want to start looking at the table or start feeling like you're sort of chasing that first win, which once you get that feeling, that's a big moment to really push on. And I think naturally, I'm biased, but I have high expectations for Villa this season, and I want to see them do well. And games like today, especially that second half, I just want them to use that to be the energy and momentum they can take forward.
You can just see that they can build those results and get that first win potentially.
They've got to get after that. I think it's difficult to away from home, again back to London for Villa, but you got to find a way. Those next 2, if not 3 fixtures, you got to be looking at 6-7 points, I think, if you really want to be in a position at the end of the season where you're in the right half of the table. You
say back to London, they played midweek, Villa. They got home at 1 or 2 in the morning, whatever it was, from Spurs to Arsenal. Had that break midweek. Where do they go from here, Arsenal?
Well, I think they need to really have a good think about themselves and what they're doing and what they have to try and achieve this season. I think that the minimum for Arsenal is to be really challenging for the WSL title, and I think the way we've started the season, it's not been great. Like I say, you can take those kind of performances if you win the game, because you know you're gonna have to up your ante in respects of the results and making sure you put teams like Villa away, because again, Villa should get a lot of momentum and confidence from that because they hung in there. They made good substitutions, whereas Arsenal, they weren't quite as ruthless as they should have been, Caroline. And then in the end, you can see them falling back into a negativity. Obviously, Lotta came on and they got their goal, but I think that it stems from Arsenal first half and how they're playing, and how they should have really pushed it and pushed the ante, really up the ante on them, and tried to see if they could get a couple of goals against Villa, then see if we can get some players on the bench to get some minutes, you know. So again, you have to give Villa credit, but again, it's a sad one for Arsenal, that one for me.